Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unpack the 19th century engineering behind a truly magical location tucked right away in Saxony, Germany. If you love seeing how nature and human ingenuity can perfectly blend together to trick the eye, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Okay, let's just jump right into this visual impossibility. How exactly does a bridge form a perfect circle? I mean, think about it for a second. Bridges are usually flat, right? Or maybe they arch just enough to let boats pass underneath. But a full, seamless ring just floating in a park? That completely defies our everyday logic of what architecture is actually supposed to do.
Well, the secret is all about this still water reflection. This is the Rakotzbrücke, which most people know as the Devil's Bridge. The physical bridge itself is actually just a really narrow stone arch. It's basically a half circle suspended over a lake. But it was so precisely engineered that when the water below is completely still, the physical arch and its reflection in the lake align flawlessly. It creates this stunning, complete ring.
Section 1. The perfect stone circle.
We actually have to travel back in time for this one. The year is 1860. You know, this wasn't some modern architectural experiment using 3D modeling and lightweight materials. This incredibly careful structure was commissioned over a century and a half ago. Just imagine the meticulous planning it took back in 1860 to calculate the exact curvature, the exact weight distribution needed to cast such a perfect, unbroken reflection in the water.
Section 2. Designed for visual magic.
Now, the real kicker in creating this illusion is the material itself. They used basalt, which is this very dense volcanic rock, to construct the narrow bridge. And it's just fascinating to think about that contrast. You've got this incredibly heavy, rugged, permanent stone, yet it was meticulously arranged to create this delicate, fragile, almost weightless illusion hovering right there on the water. So, there's a pretty stark juxtaposition going on here. The vast majority of bridges throughout human history are built for a practical function, right? To get people or carts from one side of a river to the other. But for the Devil's Bridge, practical function was absolutely not the goal. Instead, all of that intensive labor and precise geometry was dedicated entirely to the visual effect. It's literally a massive piece of landscape art masquerading as infrastructure.
Section 3. Hollywood fame and fragility.
It probably won't surprise you that a location this visually striking has become a massive draw. The bridge's enchanting, otherworldly design has made it a wildly popular photo subject for travelers and photographers. And of course, it's a highly sought-after cinematic star for filmmakers around the globe who are just looking to inject a little touch of magic into their scenes. In fact, its pop culture fame reached massive new heights very recently. In 2021, the Devil's Bridge made a really prominent appearance in the major Hollywood blockbuster, The Matrix Resurrections, which is a totally perfect fit when you really think about it. I mean, a bridge that relies entirely on a mind-bending optical illusion showing up in a movie franchise that is literally all about questioning reality, spot on.
But fame always comes with a cost, and that brings us to a modern paradox. Because the structure was built for aesthetics rather than heavy traffic, and because age has made it pretty fragile over the years, you actually can't walk across it. Crossing the bridge is strictly prohibited in order to preserve it for future generations. So today, visitors can only admire the illusion safely from the shore, which honestly kind of adds to that alluring look but don't touch mystique.
Section 4. The landscape garden setting. You see, the Rakotzbrücke doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It's the breathtaking centerpiece of Rhododendron Park Kromlau. This is a sprawling English-style landscape garden situated in Saxony, Germany, right near the Polish border. The entire park was purposefully cultivated to evoke this natural romantic wilderness that perfectly, seamlessly frames our basalt bridge.
Just imagine the sensory experience of walking through this environment. It's not just about walking up to view a bridge, it's a whole journey. You're wandering down these woodland paths, winding past serene lakes, and you're constantly surrounded by spectacular seasonal flower displays. And if you happen to visit in the spring, the park's namesake rhododendrons and azaleas just erupt into vivid bursts of color. It creates this incredibly lush, vibrant frame around the dark volcanic stone. So when the wind finally dies down and the lake reaches its absolute calmest point, that is when the true magic of the park reveals itself. Water and stone perfectly aligned to form an enchanting illusion that appears to literally hover between reality and reflection. It is the absolute perfect intersection of natural stillness and brilliant, calculating human engineering. Which brings us to a pretty compelling final thought for this explainer.
When architecture is designed purely for illusion, purely to trick the human eye, where does reality actually end and the reflection begin? I really want to leave you with that question as you consider the incredible design of the Rakotzbrücke. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I highly encourage you to keep exploring those fascinating spaces where nature and intentional design just beautifully intersect.